Every day, people waste food. Whether it is from hot lunch at school or just at home, food waste is a serious issue. 40% of the food manufactured in the U.S. goes uneaten or wasted, according to Imperfect Produce Food Waste 101. And all the tools used to grow that food, such as water, fertilizer, and land, are wasted as well. This is because all of these resources are used up, especially the water. But that's not all. According to Imperfect Produce, if we did not waste 30% of that wasted food, it would be enough to feed the 40 million Americans that go hungry every year.
Have you ever thought about what it's like to prepare food for students and then watch it all go to waste? Miss Amber is the school cook here at DPM and she prepares all the food. She makes the food and then students ordering hot lunch get in line and get something to eat. But then the uneaten food gets thrown out. How does Miss Amber feel about this type of food waste?
So I make about 360 servings and I toss probably 20 servings at the end of the day. I try to minimize the waste by getting a count from each classroom and just to make it easier and cut the waste at the end of the day. It does make me sad. I would love to donate it or give it away, but of course it's not up to me, but yeah, it makes me sad and angry.
Then what happens to that wasted food? Mr. Jeff has the job of taking out the trash to the dumpsters.
Every day there's a lot of food left over on the floor, on the table, everywhere. There's always food left over. I think we could lower the food waste here at DPM if kids were a little bit more conscious about how much food they were taking at lunch. I see a lot of kids just take a lot of food that they don't end up eating. They end up playing with it or throwing it around and it gets left behind. I go through about 15 to 20 bags of strictly just food at lunchtime. It's quite a bit.
There are several organizations that are providing ways to prevent food waste. One organization and major grocery store is Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's food waste prevention organization is doing a major part to reduce the amount of food waste. Trader Joe's main priority when it comes to the food waste is to make sure no food is wasted. They do this because they want to make sure everyone who is hungry can get the food they need. In 2018, they donated nearly $370 million worth of food, 72 million pounds, which is roughly 60 million meals to those in need. And, as a matter of fact, they do this 7 days a week to help decrease all that wasted food.
There's a lot of homeless families out there that can use the food, so we see them coming in the store and want to be able to help out whoever we can with it. Currently, right now, Heather's getting stuff ready for our Neighborhood Shares program, and we have two different ways we dispose of foods. It's either through our Shares program, which is what we give to food banks, senior citizens. That's all edible food that can still be consumed. There's been a lot of waste out there, and we take a lot of pride in who we donate the food to. We got some great organizations that we give food to, so we just want to help the community.
What I have set up here is I set up individual boxes for what exactly I'm going to share, and then I usually try to box it up with like items. So like right here we have eggs, so I try to keep all the eggs in one box, and so I'll just set it up. We have a program in our computer that actually accounts for all of our shares, and it gets sent to our warehouse or our main office, and I just pick up an item and I scan it, and then I exit so that we know, and that say if someone tried to return it, we'd know that that was part of our shares that got sent out. It's pretty easy.
And we also have our spoiled food, which is anything that is no longer edible. It could be a bloated meat package or a bruised apple, and that kind of stuff we put in the dumpster. In the future, we're going to be getting a compost bin at the store where we're going to be able to compost a lot of that produce items as well too. It does make me sad, the amount of food waste, and I'm glad as a company that we're looking to reduce that food waste any way we can. So as a company, it's a big goal of ours to reduce food waste. And our Neighborhood Shares program is any food that we donate to the local food banks. And we use that on the sales floor to get the food off the sales floor.
At Sierra Enterprise Elementary School, Mr. Craig, the lead custodian, notices differences in the amount of food wasted since using a new food waste prevention method called a share table. A share table is a table where students can put food that they don't want and take something they do want.
Can you explain how the new food waste program works?
They put the food in the trash cans, in the green trash cans, food only, and then their trash in the other gray cans.
Have you noticed a difference in the amount of food wasted since using this new program?
I've noticed the amount of food that's not being eaten, and that we only use 9 cans, and that's all that's been going out.
Food waste is awful, but you can help to fix it. Don't order foods at restaurants you don't think you're going to eat. Don't get too much food in the cafeteria lunch line. Save some for others. These are both ways to limit the amount of food waste.
Don't waste any more food, and spread the word that food waste is a serious issue, even if it may not seem like it. You can make a change.
Every day we make choices, something as simple as a straw. The path of this straw starts with the sip. And ends with a terrible consequence.
These small plastic straws look innocent, convenient, and even inviting to use, but there's a terrible consequence. 437 million to 8.3 billion straws polluting the world's beaches. These seemingly trivial items of pure convenience are slowly but surely polluting our oceans and killing our planet's creatures, large and small. Every day, people all over the world grab a straw from a coffee shop or restaurant. In the US alone, 500 million straws are used every day. Do we think about where they might end up after we throw them away? No, people are not aware of where their straw goes. Plastic straws make up 99% of the global drinking straw market, with paper, glass, and metal making up the other 1%. Plastic straws are not recyclable.
Plastics are part of our everyday use, quite frankly. They're in our clothes, they're in our medical, when you take capsules and stuff like that, plastics are there. They're in everything we use in society. The problem isn't that we have plastic, the problem becomes that we abuse plastic. We use single-use plastics like plastic bags, plastic bottles, straws and stuff like that. And what we do with those products is that when we're done with them, we don't tend to recycle them carefully. We don't tend to dispose of them carefully. And what ends up happening is we end up having all this excess plastic around us. And the problem with plastic is it doesn't biodegrade. What plastic does is it's called photodegrades, or photodegradation. And that's just a big word, but what it means is light makes the plastic become smaller and smaller. So it doesn't change what plastic is, it just changes what it looks like.
The straws don't biodegrade, meaning that they don't break down over time. So they end up actually making our rivers and our creeks look dirty or also trashy. And so it makes it really hard sometimes for the animals to enjoy their environment. And as I mentioned, they can actually choke on them, which can cause a lot of harm to them.
Straws, as with many small plastics, pose a threat to wildlife. Plastic straws are one of the top 5 most common items found on our shores during the international coastal cleanups. The next time you're at the beach, keep an eye out for plastic straws. So why do animals eat plastic straws in the first place? The answer is that these tubes resemble the food that the sea creatures eat. Single-use plastic straws that get dumped in the ocean smell like food to fish like anchovies. This is due to the fact that plastic sits in the ocean and collects algae. Around 1 million birds die every year because of these man-made killers. 100,000 turtles die every year because of these deadly plastics. Christine Figner is a marine conservational biologist out of Texas A&M University that filmed a heartbreaking scene of a turtle having a plastic straw extracted from its nose.
Also is that those plastics break down in smaller pieces, and so far, at least in sea turtles, there's pretty much not a single species of sea turtles that doesn't ingest plastics, those little plastic pieces.
What can we do to help this growing problem? In 2018, California State Majority Leader Ian Calderon introduced and passed AB 1884, which prohibits a full-service restaurant from providing single-use plastic straws to consumers unless requested by the consumer.
So straws are just one of those things that nobody really gives a second thought to. And it's easy just to take a straw because it's there or use a straw because it's there. And, the point of the bill really was to help raise awareness around this issue, which it has because people now know the issue of single-use plastic items like straws and the effect that they're having on our environment. And so what I wanted to do was to do something that raised awareness, but also at the same time helped reduce the prevalence of these single-use plastic straws in our environment. And so then that's kind of how I came up with Straws Upon Request, AB 1884.
Restaurants were more than willing to follow this new law.
Yes, the law that was passed, we are very aware of it, and we've implemented, and that is to only distribute straws on request. And that's a change from what we have been doing for many, many years. So far, it's working out very well. We've saved money by not having as much waste. What would happen would be, on the table, people would get their straw automatically, and they would not use them. So we would find many, many, many straws in the garbage.
Yes, we did provide straws in every drink, including ice waters, and for our nightclubs and every cocktail as well. Drastically has changed. I think it's very rare that guests, because they're all for helping our environment as well, I say only about maybe less than 5% request a straw currently.
We've been given a responsibility, as humans and as business owners, to do the best we can for the environment. And if it benefits the environment in any shape or form, then I think we should always be on that side.
In addition to restaurants, universities are also leading the way to environmental change. On January 1st, 2019, California State University adopted a policy to ban single-use plastic straws.
Work together, and now it's up to the students. Students have to use the paper straws so that they can understand that by using paper straws, they're eliminating plastic straws, and if they're contributing to making the world a better place by not putting those single-use plastics out there. I think students overwhelmingly were very positive about it. I think students understand how important the ecology and the environment is.
We're so used to plastic all the time, but I think it's good that the university is trying to do something to help the environment and clean up a lot, because you see a lot of things about pollution, so I think it's a good thing.
We as students can be part of the change by raising awareness. Can our school district be part of the change?
So you asked if there was other choices for having a spork and napkin, basically utensils for our students to be able to eat that doesn't include a straw. I have to admit, until you brought this to our attention, we hadn't thought about that. And so it's something that my team and I will absolutely look into to see if that would be the right fit for us. I think our district would absolutely consider eliminating straws from our program, our breakfast, lunch, and snack program. If we decided to go in a specific way, for example, eliminating straws, then I think it would set a precedence here in our area. I think other districts absolutely look at larger districts to see what they're doing.
As individuals, we can make a difference. Drink from the carton. Politely decline straws when offered, unless there's a special circumstance. Reach for a reusable straw.
Everything that you're doing right now is going to matter in the future, and the awareness you're building within yourself and passing along to your friends, to your teachers, to your parents, That is what matters.
It's time to take a stand. Let this be the last straw.
Many people use paper as a daily tool all the time. People know that paper comes from trees, but do people know the process from tree to paper? Look at a tree trunk. No, under a microscope. Making paper starts with these things in the tree called cellulose fibers. They're stuck together with a glue called lignin. Once the cellulose fibers and lignin are separated from each other, the paper can really be made. The cellulose fibers are grinded and mixed with water and chemicals. Pulp is a watery mixture made of these things. Adding lignin makes weaker paper. The raw pulp is brown and very watery. Paper is very much that. Bleach is added to the pulp mixture. Now it's white, but what about the water? First, the water pulp is flattened into a pulp mat. Then it goes into a mesh machine. The mesh machine heats, dries, and flattens the pulp mat. It goes on dryers and heated rollers. Finally, a sheeter turns the sometimes 30-foot wide roll of paper into normal-sized sheets. Once papers are made, they're packaged, shipped all over the world, and made into all kinds of products. For more information, go to these links.
My name is Coach Donald Wright. I teach at Barrett Middle School. My story is that I grew up in a place called San Bruno, California. I went to a high school called Crestmore High School. It's no longer open anymore. I graduated from high school in 1969. I went to Skyline Junior College for 2 years. Then I transferred to San Francisco State. I wrestled for an All-American wrestler at Skyline named Lee Allen. And by that time I was a pretty good wrestler, but he made me a lot better. Then I wrestled for another incredible coach who's also an All-American named Alan Abraham at San Francisco State. I graduated from San Francisco State in 1972. In 1973, I had my teaching credential, and I attempted to get a job at my old high school. I did coach there. Since I couldn't get a full-time job there, I started a ceramic tile business that I called Tile It Right. I did that for the next 20 years. In that time, I met my wife, Diana. I had 3 incredible kids, and I had a pretty good life in San Bruno. I had a friend that moved up to this area. I came up to visit. I loved how Sacramento looked. Middle of August in 2001, I was ready to try to get a job up here. But then I was at a nice lady's house named Suzanne Ambrosini, whose father was my minister in San Bruno, at a barbecue, and she told me that they were looking for a PE teacher at Barrett Middle School.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Bender. I am the principal at Carnegie Middle School, and I have known Don Wright for most of my life. I think Don is one of the most genuine, honest, and kind human beings I know. I think he is a fantastic teacher. He has always had kids in the forefront. He's a total team player. I would not only put my own kids in his class, but would love to be a student of his at some point. I think he's one of the most effective and most highly respected teachers and people I know.
My class load at that time was a couple of PE classes. The rest was math classes. They weren't real difficult, but since I had not taught math.
My name is Mrs. Danziger. Coach Wright and I worked together for a couple years teaching math, because when he first came to school, he wasn't just the art teacher. He was part PE. He did an elective class. He would watch me teach. So he would be in my room and he would watch me teach the lessons. He would always talk to the kids, you know, when they were working on stuff, and he would relate it always to sports, something related to sports. You know, you being studious was, you know, that showed what a great athlete you could be and how you could dedicate yourself to being that great athlete and stuff. And so some of the kids would get super motivated.
During those math classes, I had many young men who didn't really like math, but they did think they're pretty tough. So we started a wrestling program very quickly.
Coach Wright helped me by when I lost 2 matches in a row, he just keeps encouraging you no matter what. Coach Wright helped me because if he didn't recruit me for wrestling, then I probably wouldn't be as strong as I am right now.
Coach Wright helped me in many ways, with homework, getting to school on time, taking me home after school, helping me with a lot of stuff at home and stuff. Coach Wright is a good man.
And those kids, boys, started coming to practice. They also got pretty good at wrestling. They finally started coming to school every day. They finally started to do homework once in a while. There was a rule that said if they didn't do homework that week, they would have to sit out a week. So most of them would at least do their homework. So we started running tournaments so we could offer wrestling to a lot more kids over here. It's been a great ride. I've really enjoyed being at Barrett. This is my 18th year. Every year since we've been here, we've either taken first or second in the district in wrestling. I'm really excited about the kids I've had and the relationships I've met. Some incredible young men have come through here. A lot of them are now back helping me coach.
A former wrestler of Coach Wright. He used to help me out a lot when I was in high school and, in middle school with schoolwork and just at home, give me rides to, tournaments and just anything I really needed to succeed in life.
I'm Coach Chris. I used to wrestle here at Barrett. Coach Wright brought me and my brother in and started coaching us, started giving us somewhere to work, always helped us out, always gave us all these beautiful stories of encouragement and different things for us to be inspired by.
Many of these kids have still made it a priority in their life to try to get back and help the same type of kids that I've attempted to do in my journey here at Barrett Middle School.
It's an opportunity to be able to help. You cannot say no to giving help to people. Yeah.
We do the Easter baskets, number one, because a lot of them are low income that come to eat, and some of them, the kids don't even get anything. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to put together baskets. We use, the ladies bring in baskets and we just put toys and put a variety of things in them for them to do to keep them busy. And just so that they have a little something. Because not everybody's as fortunate, so. And also it's just, I think, a Christian thing to do since this is a Catholic church. So, something I like to do. And the ladies help out. They all pitch in. We bring candy and fill the baskets with candies and eggs and stuffed animals, and that's what we like. And then for Christmas is another one that we do, is we try and collect toys. Like this year I went to a few stores and Target was nice enough to donate toys to us so that the kids that come could have a toy for Christmas. Because again, very low income or homeless, and it's not that they get too much. So we had Santa and Mrs. Claus come and hand out and visit. It's cool.
Is it specifically for just homeless people? And I say, no, it's not really for homeless people. In fact, the situation happened here a couple of years ago where I was working here early, setting up tables and getting everything ready for, to set up the program. And this gentleman walks in the front door and he's got a kind of construction suit on, the chartreuse looking real, workman suit, jacket on. And he asked me if Mrs. Martinez was here. And I said, yeah, she's back in the kitchen. And he said, oh, good, he said. And he handed me three $20 bills, $60. And I said, wow, you know. And he said, well, do you remember me? And I said, no. I said, I really don't. And he said, well, a few months ago, I was out of work, and we were just barely making it. My family, my wife, and my two kids came here every Wednesday, and you fed us, and we got bread and produce and things like that. And he said, I got a job. I've been working for about the last 6 months or so. And he said, I just want to donate something back, and thank you very much for everything. And he gave me the $60 and left, and I never saw him again.